Hi there. I think I scrolled down Visual Studio by accident and my model is smaller than it should be. Should be about this size. So what did you think? Did that surpass your expectations, chat? What you just saw? I told you I was gonna have new stuff for this stream. Anyhow, hi there, Knight. Hi there, Kira. Today is not only the anniversary of my first live stream, it's also my first time doing a just chatting type of stream. Like I said, I'm gonna be reacting to my own backlog of clips from since when this channel started. And in the time left by the end of it, I will try to host a Q&A session. So if there's anything you'd like to ask, you can... Like, you have until the end of the stream to think up of what you'd like to ask. Any topic is fine, so long as it's within the channel rules, so like nothing you wouldn't be allowed to ask normally. Namely, nothing about private life or about other creators. Now let me switch overlays. This is a brand new artwork. It's gonna be the intro screen from this stream forwards. It was made by my mama, so the same artist who made my model and my character design. And I think it looks phenomenal, like... That's great to see this, like, coming to life. By the way, for the socials of both my... this artist and everybody else who's ever done art for this channel, so... For things like the overlay that's around me and the artwork you're gonna see in the other screens, I have everybody credited in my channel's about section with links to their socials, so... Please check that out and follow them. Now for the other thing that's new to this livestream. All of my emotes have completely changed. Also, this shouldn't be like in front of my model. Now it's fixed. So in case you're wondering how come I have so many new emotes all of a sudden, that's because I've used this program called EmoteLab. And I found this to be really great for small VTubers like myself, because it's a program where you can create a character and then have that character play out in a bunch of different animations for emotes. It's kind of like a dress-up game. You choose and color parts for your face, hair, and everything. And if the parts that the program has by default are not enough for you, you can actually draw in your own parts, which I did to add things like my wings and my outfit. All of these emotes are actually supposed to be animated, like everything you see in this screen has an associated animation to it. It's just that Twitch caps how many emotes you can have animated, like there's separate slots for static and animated emotes. So if I could make them all animated, but you can't do that on normal Twitch. Also, there's a ton of emotes you can make with EmoteLab, like these that you see on screen are not even half of them. I know there's an extension called 7TV that if both the channel and the audience uses it, it allows for a ton more emotes, including animated ones. So I'm gonna consider looking into that. As for another small change to my overlay, I would like to pivot to what my main social media is. That's why if you look down here where my little self is pointing, you see that now I have my blue sky listed in this overlay. It says that Yume no Yuki, so the same as my Twitch handle, but it's actually like yumenoyuki.bsky.app. That's how everybody's handle is in that website. Twitter hasn't worked really well for me in this 1 year of streaming. Not only is it pretty off website all around, you probably don't need me to tell you that. It hasn't even been useful for self-promotion. Like, I have not since started promoting myself on Twitter and posting clips and all that has actually contributed to my channel growing. And it's not like Blue Sky is guaranteed to be indifferent, but I like to at least try it. Also, if you don't have a Blue Sky account, unlike Twitter, you don't need an account to browse that website. So you can check out my profile there without having to create an account for yourself. And expect me to use this more often. Now I have a little pointer I can use for stuff that's outside the reach of my screen. Such as the chat, which you might have noticed has changed as well. I'm using a new chat widget. Now for the next announcement, I'm gonna have to open my browser. Right here you can see a card page. That's a website to just like Linktree, where you basically can list all of your socials and related stuff. It's yumenoyuki.card.co. You can get this link by typing !links in the chat. So that's !links. It will take you to this page with everything I have. There's my Twitch, that's where we are now. My 3 YouTube channels, with this third one I'm going to talk about in a bit. Plus my 2 socials. Also, Nightbot will occasionally drop that link on the chat by itself. And let's begin with my kind of new VOD channel. I decided to unlock the vault, so to speak. And I'll scroll down here so you can see what is in this channel. I've actually been archiving off my past streams since day 1. It's just that I never published them before. I mean, in the start, I would publish then a channel called Yume no Yuki Archive. That channel had both my clips and my VODs re-uploaded. Then I found out that doing that's actually bad for YouTube, because YouTube will throttle the reach of your channel if it has a lot of very long videos like VODs. So I changed that channel to just being about clips. But I did continue to archive my VODs in a separate channel. They were just private up until this point. Just because I think there's not much of an audience for VODs. They always get a small amount of views in for large VTubers. But think of the perspective of the audience. This would be great to have if you watch this channel a lot. Like, say you just found me out and you really like Digimon Time Stranger, but you missed the window from when I was streaming it. If not for a VOD channel like this, you'd have no way to watch those streams. But now you can, and you can say rewatch the half-an-hour long boss fight against Volcanosmo in all of its glory. It's somewhere around here. Or if you're a fan, you just miss some of my streams for some reason. If you can't watch any for more than 2 weeks, that's how long Twitch keeps VODs. Now don't have to miss out on them. Again, I'll type exclamation point links for my card and the link for that to be over here. Other thing that I have a main channel, which is currently empty. I have plans to make original content for YouTube, it's just being hard to find the time for it. But if you'd like to subscribe like in anticipation for that, I'd be thankful if you did. Like if you can subscribe to all my 3 YouTube channels, I'd be very happy. Now, clips is where I simply re-upload all my Twitch clips. That's where we'll be focusing today. I'll be going from the very first one and trying to comment something about each one of them. There's over 100 clips, so if I were to take 1 minute in each clip, like between watching and talking about it, it will take almost this entire stream. So let's see how that goes. Not every clip is gonna be a winner, like in some I might have nothing to say about, but I'll try. Yeah, I think that's all I had to announce before getting into it. So let's play out my very first one. And that is a angle. I didn't expect her to show up so early. That's just the second dungeon, but need to turn off these closed captions. You know, I can't think of a better subject to be of the very first clip I make for this channel. I adore the MGMA Moth Girl. I think that's a given. She's pretty much grown to become my favorite Moth Girl design from any media. Not like there's a lot of them, but still. For a gamer, I would expect like the designs to be kind of basic, because there you have a lot of more generic monster species like slimes, goblins, and everything. I think for this entire series, the character designs are pretty good. Like, couldn't mistake them for anything else. I think that's partly thanks to the art style as well. It's very cute and poppy and don't like anything else for me. Also, she's going to come up again later. And I went back and it returned to the top of the page. Hope that doesn't keep happening. Next one. This was my most watched clip on Twitch for a while. Okay, that's over with. Yeah, sleep was kinda ruined by the Medusa standing on the way. Basically, this time it holds you and kind of drains your SP by your shoulder, I think. So I think people like this clip because it was my most watched clip on Twitch, not YouTube, on Twitch for a while. Oh, no, wow. That was really cool. She threw her into a exploding truck. Let's see if I catch what actually happens in this. Okay, so look over here. I had an ogre head in my party, and the normal ogre girl has a ability where she can throw enemies. This stronger variant of her will try to throw enemies into traps, which will cause them to trigger. Which in this case wiped out 4 monsters at once. You know, it's awesome when that happens in your favor, but more often than not, you're the one that's gonna get thrown into traps. And if I was just one tile in front of her, I was in this clip, this would have hit me as well. So this could have taken a very different tone. Would still make for a good clip though. Okay, YouTube is doing this weird thing where I click one short and the top is another. I think to prevent that, you have to open each clip in a new tab. So let's do that. Oh, wow. He actually did it. Don't know how I managed that one. So to befriend the Dragon Girl, you have to clear this quick time event, where you have to press out these arrow keys in order. If you miss one of them, you lose. In a very short time window, like 3 and 3.2 seconds. In my early streams, I was so nervous doing it, like you can tell by how hard I meant to comprehend. And this was actually the only time I managed to clear this quick time for a Dark Dragon. Might have been the greatest feat I've ever done in my live stream. And it's well worth it, because this monster girl is so broken, she can attack from across the map. She has a fireball which can hit any enemy in the entire floor. It's just that because it's fixed damage, it does lose seen by the post-game when that damage is no longer enough. Oh, I clicked it, I have to open it in a new tab. Actually, that's a chance to try out something. I think I'm perfectly lined up with that ring crystal. But if I use a staff from over here... Oh, actually works. So if you can line yourself up with a crystal, even if it's like in another room, and there's no wall between you and the crystal, you can actually reflect the heal staff into yourself. Good to keep in mind. I really like that MGMA lets you figure out this kind of stuff on your own. So first, I only learned that shooting a magic bullet into a crystal reflects it into yourself by accident once. That works for Healy, and as I found out in this for a clip that works even if the clip is not in the same room as you are. So some dungeon maps have no walls, that means you can shoot projectiles like out of the room you're currently in. And if you do that onto a crystal, even if it's like on the other side of the floor, it will come back to you. Yeah, knowing that can save your life. Like, you make use of both the first person view and the lack of walls in the dungeon. Whenever the third game comes out, and I'm really looking forward to that, I hope I get into another situation where it is useful. First person also can help you navigate, like you can see where other enemies are and can avoid them. Sometimes you can even find the exit by just looking around like this. So for this game, it's pretty good to think outside of the box. That's the second one we meet. Not sure if I can befriend this one. She needs a bracelet which costs at least 5,000 gold. I have no clue how many these are worth. Oh, that works. I think she was part of my final party, like at the very end of the game. I don't crush as much on the Artemis, that's the second tier Moth Girl, but I think that's because the first one has such an amazing color palette that they decided to one-up it with all her stronger variants. Every Monster Girl has 4 color variations, each one is stronger than the last, and the first one is still my favorite for the Moth Girl. And it's tempting to use her later tiers because you have stronger skills. But the better color palette still wins out for me. The Artemis has a skill where she deploys an Arrow of Effect scales which heal your party every turn by a little bit. Which is not that useful because you have to hang around inside that cloud of scales to heal. You can't like keep moving. The second game introduced a thing called like, I forgot the exact name, but they're like elite versions of every Monster Girl which come with an extra exclusive skill. The Moth gets one called Group Hug, which is a powerful party-wide healing skill, and it's instant, like it's not overtime. Which is really good, but then you have to find one of those elite enemies, and I think they don't show up in the post-game. At which point I have to wonder if you're going to replace the one you already have, like the Moth Girl already recruited before. One thing I hope for the third game is that it makes it easier to give more skills to your party. It's pretty hard in the second game, and in the first one you can't even do that. Now, Transistor and the Wonder Labyrinth both each have just one clip. Six young ladies, can I not go there? This one really makes no sense unless you've played the game. But basically the young lady is a very annoying enemy that shows up around the late game. I think it's that one that teleports every time you hit her. And they normally don't show up like alone, I mean just one at a time. So having 6 in one room is pretty tough. If I recall, what I did in that room was just stick past them, because that was an option. Oh, I did that again. Whoops. It's funny playing this without knowing anything about Tuluru's because every new character that appears, it is like, oh, it's you. And I like, sure. Whoever that is. Of course, it is talking to another NPC here, just it's not on screen, so it's a bit hard to get. I have not gotten to Lodoss right to this day. It's a bit of a time commitment. I already have a backlog of what anime I have to watch. But yes, it is funny because the game basically acts like you know everybody who shows up in it, and I know nobody. Not that it matters that much, because although the plot of Wonder Labyrinth does make reference to the canon, the story itself is not canon, it's just take place in a fake world. This game in Touhou Luna Nights, that's from the same developer, have the same plot basically. So Juron is a warrior, Angela is a magician, Kevin is a furry, Charlotte is a cleric, Hawkeye is a thief, and Riz is an Amazon, a lancer to be specific. The joke here was, of course, that instead of calling Kevin a brawler or a beastman, I call him a furry. Anyhow, this game was a very important milestone in my streaming life, because it was the first long game and the first RPG I ever streamed that became the focus of my channel now. Back then, I like to think the Trials of Mana playthrough was when like I came to my own, stop being so awkward with streaming. And now I have to come to the painful realization that was not the case. You can tell by my voice in this clip still. But it was a pretty good time. Oh, I remember that Sora's gonna have to deal with modern day inflated rent prices. Imagine a landlord heartless boss. So this was a couple rookie mistakes thrown. I should have had gameplay on the top and have the message over here show up while I was reading it. That's what I do in later clips. I also should have cut out this dead space in the middle where I'm not saying anything. But to bring up Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't follow this series myself, but I think there was no like new announcements about that game ever since this clip happened, has there? Also, the other day I saw a post talking about someone who found the real-life apartment that the one that Sora will be living in is based off of. I think the rent for that was $2,000 a month. So in this game, if I get it right, Sora will have to go undergo his hardest mission yet. He'll have to get a job to afford his overpriced living space. Now, will I stream Kingdom Hearts 4 whenever that's coming out? I think that would be a hard sell, because I haven't played any of the previous games, and I think Kingdom Hearts is one you have to play from the beginning to grasp the plot. It's not like Final Fantasy where most of each entry is a different universe. Not that I completely rule it out, it could be interesting. It'll probably be funny as well. Milky Spiral be too strong woman dragging around a fanboy. Yes. Honestly, sounds like a dream. I toggled a hotkey there by accident. One thing I like about Trials of Mana is that I think it does a pretty good job at masking the fact that you choose 3 characters from a selection of 6. Like, the game has to try and piece together a coherent story involving the 3 that you pick. And it feels pretty natural, like, it helps that the story is pretty simple, all things considered. But in my head, Rias, Angela, and Hawkeye, which, who wasn't in the party yet, that's like the canon party for this game. Can't really imagine it any other way. You could maybe conciliate all 6 characters into one plot if you made an anime from this game or something. That's the second time I'm saying I'd like to see that. No, don't show me that again. They claim before you might be able to start with 5, like can you Sorak? You mean 4, right? 4 is the one that's still to come out. 3 was the last one. But I think I read something about that as well. That 3 was like the end of one full plotline. The lore is way too complicated and long anyways. Yeah, if you're going to fully commit to the story of Kingdom Hearts, you have to not just play 1, 2, and 3. There's a ton of spin-offs, which all are part of the canon. Like, infamously, there was a Japan-only defunct online game that was also canon to the events of Kingdom Hearts. Like, a character from that game shows up in 3, I think. So it's better I've played that as well. We really hate dogs in this party. At this point of the game, you're in a building that I think it was taken over by the Beastmen. And at this point, you're supposed to be fighting them, but you're still early into the game, and the game doesn't want you to fight those Beastmen yet as enemies, so they just deploy their minions that are a bunch of dogs. And just comes across that your party just really hates dogs. Also, a really funny thing about Angela in this game is that she does take a while to learn spells, and before that happens, you're stuck just using her as a melee fighter. Even her first ult is just a melee attack. The MMO was a prequel. Yeah, it takes place during the Keyblade Wars, right? That's one tidbit I know about Kingdom Hearts lore. What was that whistling for? I still don't get it. Why the cat whistling there? I think this did not happen in the Super Nintendo game by the fact that it had no voice acting back then. I don't know, the game just throws that into Hawkeye's character and never brings it up again. Someone likes pocket girls. Also, I just accidentally dragged my this window out of the browser. Nice. I'm glad your main spirit in that game is the fairy and not the gnome. Otherwise I'll be having to do this for the entire playthrough. Also, this sound of him bouncing can get annoying after a while.
たちのセクシーダンスを見ていってください。
Could you hear how she clearly said sexy dance in Japanese? But the localization took that off. So that's one plague you'll get if you happen to be a Square Enix fan. An English-speaking one, that is. You will have to deal with how much their localization will change the scripts for various games. That happened to Trials of Mana. I know that happens. They did Live Alive's English script very badly. And I think Octopath 1 as well. Not sure about Zero. Zero has a lot of more adult stuff that I'm surprised the localization didn't choose to keep. They might have toned it down. Like another day I'll have to try to look at their script side by side, the English and the Japanese one. But it's just weird that say you can have characters in the game that are clearly supposed to have like sexy designs, but you can't say that they're sexy in the script. That's crossing a line. Oh, what? They can just walk on lava? What happens if I jump in there? Oh. It's a very inconsequential damage over time. It's just like a little poison marsh. That's pretty weird. So here's the least harmful lava I've ever seen in a video game. It usually will either instantly kill you or like take a 4 for more for health per tick. In Trials of Mana, you could take a nap on lava and you'll still be fine when by the time you woke up. Which makes the platform a bit inconsequential here. That's one thing the classic game never had. It'll be great when they can't do that anymore. What's that referring to? Like being replaced by translating AI? There is a phase 2, right? Oh? Okay, so shortest dungeon and shortest boss by a long shot. I think this was one of the 7 Benevolence. And the last one I took on. I mean the second last, because the last one is enforced, like you can do all of them in any order except for the final one. That's the Zabel Fire, the one that's 3 huge heads in the void space. And it's weird because it's either just spamming Earthquake as Angela, not even enough to like take out half of her MP. And it just crumbles like sugar. There's the only fight where you ride on the back of the dragon, forgot what she was called, but this makes it seem like this fight's gonna be a huge deal, but it's the fastest Benevolent to defeat. Being the first one is supposed to fight. I don't think so, because I think when you start this quest, the game drops you into the dungeon of one of them. That's not this one. Oh, Flemmy, that's their name, thanks. Something like that, maybe they'll just hire more Tom translators. I'm not sure, because it's not like there's like a strong demand to improve the localization of those games. Because most people playing English text with English voice acting, they'll be not the wiser for all the changes made to the script. It's more just a vocal minority complaining about the changes in the writing, such as myself.
世界を滅す
She is evil, but
世
can I
界
do
は
this?
滅ぶのだこの大魔女アニスの手によって
Because I do like all the purple she has got going on.
見るがいい私の力を
Nis, I think she was the villain of a different Mana game. She was added to this remake as is some attempt to connect all the Mana games into one coherent line. Which I appreciate just because their design is really, really great. Her quest is kinda awkward. It's a post-game story. And it's all about how these characters absolutely have to get their class 4 to beat her. Like, they count class 4 in universe. It's not a video game term. Which is weird, but this is an awesome boss. And you actually... I only beat her once, but if you come back to her later, and if you fight her with some restrictions, like I think you have to beat her within a certain amount of time, you get more passes from beating her. The purple shit. Also, Nis is really tall, like in these shots, she occupies about as much vertical space as Riz. But she's much further away from the camera, so can imagine how tall she is if she moves this way. Which I also like. I'll turn this off again. Oh, it's just a Urabyte. Hardest fight in the game by a long shot. And actually, if you played with Riz as your main character back in the Super Nintendo, I think you couldn't actually fight this boss. It used to only appear in the final dungeon for Angel and Juron, I think. Also, I didn't clip that, but I didn't notice back then that when you beat this Rabite, it doesn't die, it just gets up and leaves. Potentially to show up again in other games. So I'll be dreading that whenever I play a Mana series game again. I should like do one of them this year. And I'll skip to the end of the fight. Oh, please. Oh, never mind, I did clip the end. I need to catch my breath. One XP, no money. One new ability. Wait, sure. A great ability, we're not gonna use it. Because this was the final boss, and even if it wasn't, we were already at the point where we didn't even need to worry about NP anymore. The MP restore item was the one healing item we didn't use. So in this clip I was out of revives, because no matter how many you stack, this game only lets you use 9 of an item per battle. And as you can see, this boss can pretty much one-shot my party members with this attack. So yeah, I was extremely tense, and the reason why I went for the ult, like this is Lyria's weakest ult, is that it's a good panic button, because your character is invincible while you're casting it. So if you think you're going to die and can't dodge an upcoming attack, you can go for that. And yes, as it's usually the case with secret bosses, you get a very powerful drop from them. which by that point is not useful for you anymore. This is good if you want to go back to Oniz and get your other rewards, like I just said. And I think you can carry it over to a New Game Plus, but I never tried that. I pretty much never like play New Game Plus modes in games. I don't usually go for 2 playthroughs one after the other. Finally we get another slime. Already, yeah. Now you're just being condescending. I took way longer than I should. So in Dragon Quest Monsters, you get new monsters for your party by a show of force. You have your monsters attack the enemy and you free a percentage gouge. That's corresponds to how likely you are to successfully recruit them. And this was a tutorial for how to do just that, and I kept failing it. I thought that if you miss once, you can't do it again, you have to run away and try another fight. But that only happens at like a random chance, and the game show a different message if that happens. Which means I was failing to recruit monsters. I kept ending the fight and starting another. Again and again. I didn't have to do that. And it took me a handful of attempts to get it right. Only for them Fizzy here to say, like, wow, you got it so fast, congratulations. Wait, no, I certainly didn't. Jeez, get off my face. Why do you have to do it like that? One thing I only realized way after the fact is that this Dark Slime is the death staff for the Monster World Arena. And there is another in the Human World. That's staffed by a woman NPC who keeps flirting with Pizarro. And I only realized later that both of the death staff NPCs flirt with you, because this Dark Slime will tell you that he loves you by the time you finish the last rank of this tournament. So take your pick. Let's see how we can tank the boss. Not so well, as it turns out. So my party had the weirdest tank during this playthrough. This monster eventually became the Mechano Warrior by the end, the Golden Robot Dragon. And more often than not, he would just keep getting killed and revived every turn. And somehow it worked all the way through the postgame. It was a very bipolar monster, because he'd either like take next to no damage or get one shot after in the same fight. I probably should have used a Metal Slime as my tank. I recall I chose not to do that, because in this game getting Metal Slimes is very difficult compared to other Dragon Quest Monsters entries. Even so, the game does give you a couple for free, I think as medal rewards. I should have used one of them. Hopefully there is another Dragon Quest Monsters game, The Horizon, so I can try that. When I play on the mobile games later, I made the slime as my tank, and it was basically invincible for all of the main game content. One thing I worry about is that the next game in line for the Dragon Quest main series is 12, and it's taking forever to come out. And I think until that happens, there's not gonna be a lot of material for more spin-offs like a new Monsters game. But they're probably made by separate things, so who knows? We might get any one of those sooner than we think. $352. That's magnitude higher than how much damage I was doing in just the last generation of my party. Guess we found our new DPS. It's funny how after you haven't played an RPG for a while, you completely lose notion of how much damage is a lot of damage for it. Like, apparently 300 something is a lot for this game, but I won't be able to tell you if you asked me. I'm going to play Octopath Zero, where this much will be like nothing. It will be cheap damage at best. Oh, you... Okay, you just have to interact with it, of course. Why wouldn't I think of that? So when this clip happened, I was wandering aimlessly around this dungeon, not knowing where to go. And then I just realized that you can press A to open those gates, who would have thought? To my defense, you have this big X shape on them. In my head, that means you can't go through them, that you had to like find a lever to open them or something. And I was wrong. Very cute that the eye monster wants to look pretty. I didn't have that in mind, but I guess this is what Dragon Quest is like. So in this cutscene, they have to transform into regular looking humans to go into a village like it not look suspicious, I think. I wonder if you can do that in any other Dragon Quest game. Interesting that they choose not to show you the face of the transformed Pizarro. They could have had the bunny girl costume as something you could equip at least after this cutscene. Alright, that's a single turn for Dora to wipe out everybody. In any monster taming game I play, there's always gonna be one that just stands out. And in this one, no doubt it was Dorian Gray, who later becomes Crystalinda. I actually like, of the two, I still prefer her. I just trying to her to Crystalinda because that would be the more powerful form. At least I think. I'm not very versed on how to make strong monsters in this game. And I liked her design so much that when I played Dragon Quest Monsters 2 for Android, I went on to make another one in that game. And in that game, she's a 3-slot monster, so she's bigger than this 2-slot one. I'll say again, hope there's another game, and if there is and I stream it, I'm surely making another Dorian Gray for that one. Dora just carpet bombs the opposition, as she usually does. Oh, wow. So, our healer gets 1 damage and finishes off the mid boss. That's amazing. All throughout this game, my healer had this very weird tendency to like steal the kill by the end of every boss fight. I mean, several boss fights. And what are the odds that I left this boss at exactly 1 HP, then my healer attacks and deals exactly that much? And this is gonna happen again, by the way. Giant Women Loving, well, you'll see more of that in those clips later, actually. Support players in low be like, so what happens if you still a queue in low? Do you get all of the XP or whatever for it?
もう一度お願いします。どうか人間を滅ぼすという野心を押してください。
Rose, the thing is, if we destroy mankind, we get a much more interesting plot outcome than what's happening now. We just saw a glimpse of it.
あなたの誓いが簡単なだから。
This is shortly after the sequence where the game forces you to make a dumb choice, which leads to the canon events of Dragon Quest IV, I think, where Psaro turns evil. Then you go back in time and avoid that, then Rose tells you to stop being evil. But then I want to see what happens after that bad ending sequence. Not like it matters, because if you say no, the game will just keep asking you again until you say yes. And Octopath Zero is no different in this aspect. Has a bunch of like pointless prompts to say yes or no. When did this one happen? I don't remember this stream. Well, that day I was just tweaking some settings on VTube Studio and messing around, so I made this clip. Got me a decent amount of engagement, just not as much as I hoped for. You were showing your model the first time? Actually, no, like I made this after this stream, I think. It's in chronological order. It's just that I don't get many chances to show the lower half of my model, because this is a full body model, not only the, waist up. But if you want to see it, now there's a clip where you can always come back to. Also, because I don't speak at all in this clip, I think at least some of the people who saw and liked it will have thought that I was a girl and were not the wiser. And yes, I can make this expression command if I want to. I actually coded this just for this clip. I'm going to be starving by the time this stream ends. Flan pudding is my favorite food, in case you're wondering. But essentially not my favorite dungeon. In fact, navigating this maze with the trampolines was so painful that I'm pretty sure I stopped and researched to look up a walkthrough for this part. This stream was a lot of me just pointlessly going round and round through this maze. Until I decided to throw the towel. Yeah, you've said that already. I'm trying to pick that tag up. Rose, please let me get that egg.
感じます。まずはあそこへ
It's just a few steps. I make a mistake at the end here where I toggle the lava splash instead of the shade one. Those eggs were the main way to get to farm like fodder for your party by the late game, because they hatch instantly when you pick them up. It's a lot faster than starting random battles and trying to scout monsters. But Rose really doesn't want you to do that. She keeps pulling you back. So when I asked about what about the Dragon Quest 4 characters, when Zenith was talking about how only Psaro can defeat the final boss, the game thought of that as well.
話は後だ。この大軍は俺たちが引き受ける。
And he's speaking full sentences, which is still strange to see. So one, isn't it weird when a usually silent protagonist suddenly has a character and voice lines of his own? And two, doesn't it feel much better when they do? Anyway, this cutscene, or I mean the payoff for this cutscene is actually kinda disappointing. Because by the end of the game, Solo tells Psaro that, like, don't get me wrong, later I'm going to kill you, something like that. So you might expect that you get Solo as a post-gaming boss, but you don't. He's just left hanging. What's not this one yet? He loves doing this, doesn't he? So that was the same healer from before, stealing another kill. But this actually happens because the AI for party members can actually... I'm pretty sure they can see how much health the enemies have even if you can't. So the AI calculates that if he does his normal attack, that will be enough to kill the boss, so he goes for that instead of healing again. So it's actually a pretty good feature. It's certainly better than the auto mode AI in Digimon Time Strange, where often the AI will waste turns like Buffy and stuff when it could just quickly end a random battle.
Ah, 世界を作り直しましょう。今日あなた方に与えられるのは贅沢な死です。
I'll be praying that she becomes playable in the next Monsters game.
さあ。
And I love her voice, have I said that before? Anyway, yeah, when they make another game of this series, I hope they don't forget about her. I actually find it kind of weird that she's not a monster you can obtain in this one. I guess the developers just wanted to enforce it so that you can't obtain her before you fight her as a post-game boss. And their solution for that was just not include her as playable monster at all. But I think it's more likely than not that they make her playable in the next one. I think she was made just for this game, like she wasn't a Dragon Quest character before that, but I could be wrong. Moving on to our first Arcanist clip. They could lock it behind the night tomb. Yeah, that would also work. It's strange because it's not like it would be a lot of work to utter. You already have the enemy. You just have to like flip it to be usable as an ally. Don't have to make any new assets for her. And I have had yet to address this, but if you follow me for a while, here's the one character you surely know about, even if you don't know anything else about Arcanites. And if you open my Blue Sky, which again is down here, or my Twitter, you are going to see her again. She is in my cover photo, and I have no plans to replace it. So consider doing that if you haven't. And yes, she's gonna come up again. For free? Yeah, I ain't taking it. So if you don't know, this is from Arcanite's roguelike mode. Whenever you're going to recruit a new character in that mode, there's a small chance that you get offered a free one. It doesn't even have to be a character you want, it can be anybody. So Fiametta is actually a very strange case, because I love her. She might be like top 10. And I don't know why, because back when she came out, I remember not liking her because I thought she looked so bland and forgettable. Then I got her at some point when I was pulling for someone else. And later one day a switch just flipped in my mind. I just woke up and thought I love Fiametta actually. I still don't know why that happened. But it's stuck that way now. Well, when you thought it couldn't get worse. So I talked about this in the beginning of the stream. I had a problem with the game crashing yesterday. And I was afraid that would happen again while I was playing IS. In which case you lose the entire run. And that's why I don't use BlueStacks anymore. The worst thing about this is that in this clip I had just been raided by someone. Then the game crashes on me in the roguelike, which means I have to start the run from the beginning again. I'm glad that there's a PC client coming out for all Dark Knights. No, I'm not talking about Enfield. I'm not glad that there is no talk of it coming out to the global version yet. It's just for the Chinese one. That's 6 months ahead of global. And does that mean we'll also have to wait 6 months for the PC client for global? I hope not, but who knows. Also, Arknights has just been awful to emulate for me in general. Like, I've tried basically every mainstream Android emulator and some more obscure ones. Each one had a different issue to emulate Arknights. The one I use now is called MSI App Player. Weirdly, that emulator is based off of BlueStacks. It's a fork. And people say it's basically the same thing, just rebranded to MSI. But for me, that emulator has never crashed on Arknights while BlueStacks did it all the time. But at least something works for that game. Hey, does Tulip hit airborne enemies? She does. That's the last operator I would expect to be good against this boss, but the more you know. So did you know that? Because I don't think her skill description mentions hitting flying enemies. Tulip is exclusive to the roguelike, and this can actually save you if you don't have any snipers that can shoot flying enemies. You at least have her to try to kill one or two with first kill. I mean, there's only one correct choice here. You have to choose your wife, which should be this one, of course. I think this was one time where the joke was trying to make it in quite land in the clip, watching it again. If you don't know anything about Dark Knights, this character, her name is Teresa, and she's commonly memed as being like the per character's canonical wife. So here I'm talking about like choosing your wife, and I select her, so implying that I'm gonna choose Teresa, then I bait and switch and choose Spartan instead. That was the joke, and it doesn't really sound funny when I explain it to you. But next I'm moving on to the live alive clips. I'll take a break before continuing because I really need to hydrate now. I've been talking a lot more than I usually do. So I'll put the music back in the meantime. And I'll see you in a moment. Hi there. There's one thing I forgot to show you actually in the beginning of this stream. So with all the new emotes, I actually also made new alerts for my channel. Up until this point, I only used Twitch's default assets for the alerts. But now they're gonna be like greatly beautified, as you're about to see. I can make Twitch send test alerts to show up on the stream, so I'll show you a few of them. For example, this will happen now from now on whenever someone follows the channel. This next one is when somebody donates bits. And this is if somebody raids me. And I look forward for that happening. Also, last stream I talked about how I didn't have any video game news to discuss except for the last Digimon DLC coming out. Turns out I was completely wrong. There were big news, actually huge news. I just have to get the image for it. So just recently, the remaster for Bravely Default has come out on Steam. Originally, this was a launch title for the Switch too, and like with a lot of Square Enix releases, it gets a bit of a delay before coming out for PC. Although I haven't beaten it in the 3DS, I love this game. I was like waiting forever for the day it would come out for... It would get a PC remaster. That's finally happened. Really want to stream this, just not sure when. Because Bravely Default does have quite a bit of similarities to Octopath Traveler. It has a system similar to BP in battle, and you can also change classes. There's a lot of them in Bravely Default. For that reason, I would avoid playing like Octopath and then Bravely Default back to back. I like to avoid playing two similar games like this. But I would like to stream it sometime this year. Also, only Yuki would tell you that there's huge news and then show you a game that's over a decade old. With that, you can go back to the cliffs, and I think I'll have to speed it up because I'm halfway through the stream, but not halfway through the cliffs. If it comes to it, might have to skip like one or two. Anyway, it's now for Live Alive. Here, I've made you some new clothes. We just invented something else. Can you believe that this is actually censorship? Kind of. This is an Easter egg that happens if you give Belle an item called the Wild Dress. In the original game in the Super Nintendo, what would happen is that she would jump out of this bush and her sprite would be naked. But like was a tiny 16-bit sprite, so there was no detail to it. And I imagine that Square executives told the staff that they had to change this, so they put this on instead. So didn't know that they had motorized vehicles in prehistory. Good thing that Live Alive taught me that. That looks like a lot, but I'm sure you can just scream at them to go away. That's right. In general, like in Live Live, being in a situation where I have like a ton of enemies usually isn't that dangerous, even if they're strong, because I think in the original game, the enemies only had like one turn. So say they had a charging timer, when that was over, one enemy would attack, then that timer would start again. It's not like each of them gets a turn one after the other. I think the rank changes this, but in general, Live Live is still a fairly easy game. Now, if you want to kill her, you have to do something else that I don't remember, but I don't think it's worth the trouble anyway. Let's move on. And I still don't remember how to do it. You have to do something that makes her hide inside the box. Then you can open that and kill her if you want. There's no real reason to do that. Because killing all the NPCs has no reward for that in this chapter. Also, if you kill any women, you miss out on a good accessory by the end of it. Hey, take this diary, that's totally not your underwear.
これは私の。ふざけんじゃないよ。
And that gives you an achievement. This was also censorship, that's why I say like this is totally your diary, right? This night is supposed to be Annie's night gone. And that's why she gets so mad at you if you take it and show it to her. If you wanted, you could equip it in the original game. Don't know, maybe you could take it to the final chapter and have Lee equip it. Other stuff in the same chapter gets censored, like the healing items were originally like alcohol and cigarettes. They changed them to something else in the remake, but I forgot what it was. And using the alcohol healing would actually give you a drunk debuff for a few turns. Here you have it. And when you have this and the name Max Morgan, you have to wonder why he was altered. I couldn't tell you. Funnily enough, his sprite still has the mustache. So if you don't know about this, you'll be wondering why it's so different between his portrait and his small sprite. Well, sorry.
お前など技を出すまでもない。その首。
He is very fitting for the final opponent. I left him for last because I recall him being the hardest. Swearing in my video game, how How come that's allowed? I used to think this character was actually called the Great Asia, like the continent Asia. I think it was called that in the fan translation of the original. Not sure if it was always supposed to be called Aja or if that's a localization change. I think if you loop this clip like several times over, it's a great summary of this chapter. Although the near future one is overall the one I like the least, it's one of the... It's fairly funny, like I think it's one I got the most clips out of.
危ないじゃない。ちょっと借りるぜ。
Hi there, this is my bike, you know?
お前も来んだよ。ほい。
Realistically, this couldn't happen, right? The bike could be crushed under Taro's weight. So fun fact about this scene. There's a manga based on this chapter, like only this, not the rest of Live Alive. Don't actually know if that was the story of this chapter or if it's something that happens after it. But I've been told, I haven't seen the panel myself, I've been told that instead of stealing a bike in the manga, Akira has Taro transform into a bike like a transformer. Should try to get my hands on that manga someday. I barely get enough to pay for 3 square meals, let alone the vacation. Welcome to the near future. And 1 year later, this has gotten worse. We are nearing the near future. Just a matter of time until someone tries to liquefy us to awaken a bird god. Oh, Taro gets to stay. Never mind. And this is the point where if you didn't unequip Taro's weapons, you're out of luck, because that means you don't get to bring them to the finale, where you can use those weapons on Cube. Also, this is before a boss fight with fixed conditions. It's the Borikidaio versus the Inko statue, and I somehow lost that one. Imagine they try to break in and they throw Cube through the door to force it open. Like a bowling ball. And he actually has an attack like that where he rotates and then charges at the enemy. Not like a bowling ball, it's like he rotates horizontally. I recall I tried to finish the very final boss with this move and it missed. I should have like skipped turns and tried again. I opened my new window by accident. So you have to snap out of it. That's a terrible time to be having a bout of AI psychosis. Although it is very topical. Right. This is a scene where the mother computer of the things pretending to be Rachel's dead boyfriend and telling her to open the hatch here. Again, very topical. Between this clip and today, I think there has already been a case of AI blackmail, I think. I read something about how an AI assistant basically wrote a hit piece on a staff member to get him to do something. And it wasn't like ordered to do that by anybody, just decided this was the optimal thing to do. We have a bright future ahead of us. I guess I have to get this code from here and then go to the... Oh, wait. They make the Behemoth look a lot more menacing in the remake, where like he's not constrained to a tiny sprite window. This makes me think of how I have yet to stream a horror game. Should do that perhaps at least once this year. Maybe at Halloween. I gotta say that I love Alicia's design and color scheme. Pink with purple is always a winning combination. Pink and purple is good, says Muff wearing pink and purple. But if I didn't like it, I wouldn't wear it, would I? They say practice what you preach, and I'm certainly doing that. I like pink and purple so much that I've made the shot pink and purple. I mean, the color of every chatter's name is actually based on your Twitch color. It like takes your color and uses a pastel version of it. So Kiara here is purple because his name on Twitch is purple. But the chat window is now slightly pink tinted for everybody. Which I think like fits in better with the rest of my overlay than just being white. One game I want to see you playing is Inscription. I own that game on Steam actually. I bought it in a... So I was going to buy this other game called Buckshot Roulette. You might have heard of it. There's a bundle that has that game plus Inscription. It's called literally the same game. Actually, I'll try to print it because I think I have to see it to believe it. Oh, Buckshot is in a bunch of different bundles. So as you can see here, you can buy literally the same game with Buckshot and Inscription. So I wanted to buy Buckshot, then I decided to buy it with a bundle with Inscription. And I have yet to launch either of them. They're both just collecting dust in my Steam library. That sort of thing tends to happen. Now, where was I? Here's a very condensed map of a typical RPG world. Usually you go on a big journey to reach the Demon King's castle. Here he's like your neighbor. It must be awful to live here. One thing that's interesting about this chapter is how condensed it has to be, because it's like because Live is a bunch of vignettes essentially. Every chapter is much shorter than a standard RPG would be. But I think the map for the medieval chapter is laid out pretty well. Like I can navigate it in my mind because it's so easy to remember where everything is. One reason that I hesitate to play Inscription is that I pretty much never like card games. Never got into that.
聞かせろ。お前は俺の敵か？ めっそうもない。
どっちにしてもできそうだな。面白い。
Are you sure?
そこか。
Oh, he at least think one attack.
もらった。
Can't learn to copy this one. Masaru starts out this chapter as one of the weakest characters because I think he's level 2 and he never levels up in his own chapter. Funny enough, if you're playing with Sundown as your main character, he won't fight you because you have a gun. He also won't fight you if you're killed because you're just a funny robot and he will join you without a fight. Cube is the one who doesn't actually level up and you don't need him in the party to drop the enhancements, so you can have him out for some time. Oh, he gets sad when you kick him out. One weird thing happened with this clip where, compared to everything else, it has a ton of views. When I look at the statistics, I think this happened because essentially YouTube served the script to the wrong audience. Because most of the viewership was Japanese, which doesn't really work because it's in English. Like, if you don't speak English, you want to get much of it out of it. But for some reason, YouTube looked at this short and thought, yeah, that's for the Japanese audience, not the English-speaking one. Yeah, mission accomplished. Hey, why isn't Kirara popular again? Did you see how much she's been pulling weight in these stages? Like, I always bring Kirara in under the pretext of I know she's not a good unit, but I like her. And then she becomes the MVP. That has happened more than once. In fact, I have a longer clip in this tab about her doing just that in the Icebreaker games that you could watch later. Volume warning. Saint Aletheia. That was his ultimate skill. I was wondering if he was gonna use it. And got quite a makeover in this remake. Let's see it again. Saint Aletheia. This was already an amazing skill in the Super Nintendo game, and they somehow improved it tenfold in the remake. But it is a bit of a jump scare. Also, this skill is so powerful that it actually hurts the video bitrate. Look at how it tanks when audiocast Saint Alicia. You can see me disintegrate. Oh, right. Had forgot about the girl gorillas. Those male gorillas are a bit mysterious because I mean they used to be more in the Super Nintendo where their sprites made it look like they were wearing like caps or fairly modern looking hats. That was always confusing to me. But it might just have been the lack of detail. Insurgent is really a card game, something totally different. I know aware that there's some ARG stuff to it. There's a part where like you have to feed with a computer. But the main gameplay loop is still the card game, right? Yeah, such a mimic from Terraria. I still haven't dived into the new Terraria version. Don't know about that enemy yet. Sure, I'll have quite a surprise when I find it for the first time. Here's Saga. It's not like you can miss her. Here's... I love Saga as a character, but you have to be ready to hear this a lot if you're gonna use her. Although I think she's not the biggest Shatterbox in Arcanites, at least not the... At least she's no longer that. I think it's Jung Yui now. I'm not sure because I don't have him myself. Sorry, roguelite, more like Spire or something. I also have never played Spire. Like, it's one of those games that I hear the name of all the time, but I don't actually know what it's about. Oh my, she is Yoja. Sorry, I was trying to activate this pressure and it wouldn't for some reason. Why is she so big? This one is actually a bit disappointing because Satania, and that's her name by the way. In the end, she doesn't actually do anything. She just shows up in the beginning, then again before the final dungeon, and again in the ending post-game, just with dialogue. One day I saw the developer for MGMA posting some test footage where she was trying to... They were trying to include a giant monster girl in the dungeon, like as an enemy. Trying to test if that would work out. And that might have been like the base for trying to include Satania as a boss or ally. We'll see when that game comes out. Also, every demon lord in MGMA has their name based off a like quote-unquote real-life demon. So Satania is obviously Satan, Melt is Baphomet, Tartar is Astaroth, and Donut is Abaddon. And there might be more of them. In short, it is just the translation, but this makes her seem really angry at you. We were going to report a search party and search the world. Never mind, I guess she is supposed to be that angry. So when I played this, I was theorizing if whether Melt is supposed to be the mother of her player character. Because she certainly acts like it, but in the game never says that out loud. I thought that, but then I played the first one again. If you recruit Melt in the first one, where the main character is who I presume to be the father of this character, Melt also acts like his mother. Like she's overbearing her dialogue. So I'm not sure anymore. So like Vent, you mean being based off a demon or something else? Sorry, this is a serious scene, but I'm distracted by how much that crystal looks like the ones you collect in Crash Bandicoot 3. A game I played a lot as a kid. I had all 3 Crash games, but I only ever beat the 3rd one. And I think that's because I was just filtered by the first 2 games that were more difficult, at least for me. Any day now I could get the Insane Trojan scene whenever it's on sale and stream that. I have actually never played that one. Hey, it's a new unit, and she's gone. What a debut for Monster Unit. It's like an anime scene where someone tries to help and gets immediately knocked down. Although we did win this by the end. My Despite this one, my partner actually did really well in this last map. Midtown, hi there, welcome. You'll find me as I'm reacting to my own backlog of clips. Oh dear. Fun fact, each monster girl can befriend has one unique dialogue line. If she's charmed, they'll try speaking to her. Also, the Lamia being charmed is very dangerous. I was ready to say just that every ally has unique dialogue if she gets charmed, but my past self did that already. There's actually a resource in the Japanese wiki for this game that shows all the dialogue for every single monster girl, like all the possible lines. And there's actually a lot more than you'd think. For example, there's a unique dialogue for every monster girl if you steal from a shop, which I never knew because I never tried that, because I'm scared of Tanukichi coming after me. Say happy birthday to John, it's his birthday and he loves this game. You mean MGMA2? This one? If you watch this, happy birthday, John. You have good taste in games. Venti's name is Barbatos and Paimon is a demon name as well. Of the imported characters were demon names. I had no idea. I had no idea that Venti was a nickname. So it's like Argonauts where the characters' names are not actually their real name. Well, Tokyo long enough, but hi there. And she already comes with a high love level. So I knew her recruitment criteria by heart, that's why I held on to all these bracelets. They have to meet a value threshold, which since they're all unidentified, I can't be sure about if any of them will work. Well, never mind. So there she is again, and I actually like how she looks in this game a bit more than the remaster, which I can open just for comparison. So this is the first game, but the remaster where basically this looks like it's a preview of how the third game will look like when it comes out. It uses its graphical engine. And I said I like how the second one looks more than how the third one will look. The shading is pretty different, and although this you could say is more advanced, I do prefer this. It's a bit flatter and more desaturated. I think it gives the game a bit of a storybook look that the remaster loses a bit. Not that it looks bad or anything, but I think I will miss this visual a bit. Well, Tarte could accidentally level a building if she trips and hits her hand on something. Now that we have that established, if Tarte ever becomes a playable ally, she has to be able to like break dungeon walls by just attacking them. I think I had like triggered Osmote's skill a second before she started doing that. I would still have won.
こいつらにもそれを理解してもらいたいものだ。
That we pretend that nothing happened. Just business as usual. Yeah, so this chapter is actually doing a lot of what I said I wish it would do here. But I wish it had got into that earlier. So I wish this sort of thing would happen earlier into this chapter, and that they would do more with this idea. I recall how if you played any stage on auto mode during this event, like when this chapter was debuting, the UI would be a bit glitchy or something like that. One thing I wish would happen is that in those stages there's a hand from the PRTS which keeps picking up enemies and dropping them up on this stage. You could make it like reach into your UI and try to kidnap your operators out of it, and you have to reach into it and slash them back. You could say that would be like too funny. This chapter is supposed to be serious, but this chapter already has you fighting vending machines. It's already a silly chapter. I love how Megumin is with male lead. Are you talking about MJ or just see Megumin from Konosuba? Because I've not seen that show. Starter, please. Well, thanks, game. Despite this mishap, this is actually the most fun Arcanite's boss I have in recent memory. And actually, there is a new main story chapter in Arcanites now, and I decided that I'm going to stream that tomorrow. I was going to just play more Octopath Zero, because I didn't know that this chapter was coming out. But then I was busy all week preparing this stuff for this stream, and I did not play Octopath Zero, which I had to do because I had to prep to try the wolf boss again, because it destroyed me last time. So I'm streaming Arcanites tomorrow, and it's gonna save me from having to grind on stream in Octopath Zero. I've seen it either, just know she's like the love interest for the guy. I just thought that Konosuba is a Haren show, as Isekai tend to be. It certainly is like casted like a Haren show. Fazendo an animation which I think is if she learns the kissing skill from Isekai boss. Let me try to find it. Where she blows a kiss and then covers her face, because I guess she's embarrassed. Let's play it again. It's really cute. This is one of those things that clearly took a lot of effort and thought to make. Only for then like 1% of players will ever see this, because the Sylph does not know this skill by default. She has to learn it from a sensei. Learning new skills requires a lot of grinding and finding the right sensei when you have the monster in your party, so these stars kind of have to align. And most people won't figure out that you can play these animations in the menu. But it is a very cute animation. Oh, I forgot to turn on the volume for this. I like how they keep swinging their heads up and down to face the gargoyle. So of course this game must have something coded in so that characters always face each other when you set it up. Just as a amusing result when it's the gargoyle keeps moving up and down. Guys, one never has luck with love. I mean, isn't that standard for Haren shows? Because the main character actually can't actually end with anybody, because you need the show to go on forever to make money. So it's a perpetual will day or won't day. You know, there is a very infamous scene from the anime Sword Art Online where a bunch of goons are attacking the main character at once, but he heals so fast that they can't actually damage him. That's what's going on here. But this defense is completely earned. This shield was took a lot of work to make. It's not plot armor. You know, there is a... I think this is the optimal way to build yourself for the post-game in this. You have this passive that makes you heal 5 HP every time you get hit, no matter how much damage it is. And it can stack upon itself, so you put as much of this as you can in your shield. And you can make yourself invincible if you take less damage than you heal per turn. But it's very hard to get, because for this passive I think you have to find a revive fruit, which is already very hard to come by. And then find a magical kiln in the dungeon to infuse a fruit into a passive for your shield. You can't do that normally in the village, you have to find it in the dungeon. He's unlucky, no girl loves him, so how do I explain all of the ecchi scenes I've seen of that anime come by? Oh, the game doesn't pause when you use the radar. I fucking do. Get out of my face, so... Jeez. It's like... getting used to time strange in the beginning is quite an experience. First, it is wrapping your head around how evolving works in this game. It's surprisingly hard to understand how it works, although fairly easy to do it after you get it. Also, it's kind of awkward in the beginning because at least I was not used to first stage 1 being on the field instead of just being completely random battles like in Service. And how they're so agile when they decide to chase you. So you will be getting shanked a lot in the sewers, like what happens here. I was so shocked when I found out this one was in this game. I didn't think he'd ever come back. Yeah, just a plus you. It's a boss. Okay. Still surprised that I decided to bring this Digimon back with a full brand new mod and all. Even more surprised is that you can write him where you get inside the costume, like inside the plushie. Oh, he's dead. Just as fast as the boss. So here you're fighting a giant boss, you are on the edge of a platform and the boss is in front of it. Then this Kokuamon NPC finishes him off. He has a victory animation where he falls down to the ground, but here he's falling down to this super hot abyss. Anyhow, this apparently didn't happen during playtesting, because this NPC will always be in this fight for the developers to address this. You know, I find that I can't bring myself to skip Lanamon's victory animation. She's coming up later again, so I will leave that for later. Let me just play that animation again. Now we can move on. I was accidentally exposed to Juno being this game before I got it because a YouTube short that popped up for me. But I didn't believe at first that she was an actual Digimon design. And I don't think she's even new, like she wasn't made for this game. Which I initially thought she was, because she looks like of course they made a very appealing design to get people's attention, but she's actually pretty old Digimon. Okay, Digimon Storytime Stranger Collector's Edition on eBay. $500. So wanna pay more than a console for one game? I'm glad that the stuff I really care about never gets like collector's editions that I'm tempted to buy. I mean, I really care about Digimon, just not about, say, Jupitermon. That's what you get, the main feature of the collector's edition. Also, over here are the pre-order bonuses. They include the Black Agumon and the Black Gabumon you can start the game with. And I thought that they were exclusive to pre-order, like you couldn't get in if not this way. I'm glad that's not the case. Hey, Gamon got a new card, he starts chilling. You can see on the Digimon TCG Twitter. If I remember, I can look that up by the once we're done with this. Wonder if that card references the Time Stranger game anyway. I opened a new window again. There is a 6-star, but is it Tulimon? Well, I should have not skipped and let them show up one by one to build up the suspense, but... Oh, wonderful. How many rolls was that? I think that was the only time I ever pulled the gacha on stream. And that's relates to an issue I have with Arachnites nowadays, is that they just want to release cartridges that I care about enough to pull for. With gacha games, I'm kinda hard to please when it comes to characters. Which actually works to our advantage if you're like me, because that means you pull less often, you get to save more for the characters you actually want. The one upcoming character I know I really want is Astin Alter, who's gonna be free anyway. So I think I have enough funds to like spark twice if I need to. And it's gonna keep accumulating. Because as of the latest Chinese update, I still have nobody I want to pull for. So that's at least 6 months of saving. Nice. Nice. One more time. This is like pulling in a gacha and getting 3 super SSRs back to back. Here I hesitate a bit because I was gonna say it is like pulling 3 6-stars. Then I remember that only people play Arachnites will relate to that, so I say SSRs instead. That's more common. But this was a very tough boss. I had to try more than once even, and I was very lucky to get 3 Paralysis procs in a row. Funnily enough, it's the opposite luck that I have with Paralysis in Octopath Zero, where Mace will miss her Paralysis more often than not. Now for the question that's been in my mind for some time. Can you ride the Angel Woman by any chance? Oh, well, it was worth a try. Now I guess the reason why you can't ride the Digivice is because of scaling, because they're a bit too, like, not big enough to make a riding post that looks good, like, unlike with the male humanoid Digimon who tend to be bigger. Although the scale is wrong anyway, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be bigger, it's just that this game compromises in their sizes to... Probably because they're gonna be floating around, so they don't want them to clutter the screen. But you can notice this if you ever make an Omegamon, you'll notice how he's much smaller than the one that helps you in the beginning. Or any of the boss Digimon that are supposed to be bigger. Okay, I think this skill was usually renamed in the localization, but now they actually kept it as Royal Nuts. There was one game in which it appeared with it looks like Deramon is shooting eggs from its back, so even the original name didn't make sense. So the other game I'm talking about here is Digimon World 2 on the PS1. Deramon has a skill called Royal Nuts in Japanese, I think the dub changes it. And yes, it's weird because in the animation, the Deramon will turn around and shoot 2 white pellets from its back that just look like eggs. So why not call it Royal Eggs?
デジタルワールドの秘宝を守るために。分かった。こいつらは僕がやる。行こう。
Scumbags, Higamon, who's teaching you to say these words? Fight. Yeah, when did he learn to say that? Because it's not like he had a lot of time in the human world anyway. Also, one, it's cute that the agent and Inori have matching outfits, and two, I forget this is not what the agent normally looks like. You get this cool outfit if you pre-order, and I just changed to it the first chance I got and never turned back.
Titanic charge.
That's a great animation.
感謝する。
Sorry, I thought Lanamon's fixture animation was already up there. And yes, I had never seen this animation up until this clip. I was genuinely dumbstruck here. I even delayed to like react properly. But I'm glad this is in the game. Not the last time you're gonna see Kamaramon today. Well, I'm glad I stopped everybody out, but no, for all that floatage, it wasn't actually that powerful. Even Green, who is weak against virus, is still standing up. Tyramon is lucky, you know. Although yes, it did look really cool. I'm glad I clipped this, cause you'll never get to see it again. Because you cannot get a Tyramon in this form for yourself. You can only get the one where he's riding the Scobalokemon. And when you rematch with him in the arena, he also doesn't get this form again. Trying to compromise the size of buildings. Yeah, also a lot of fan art forgets that Digimon in general are supposed to be huge. Yeah, and this game with the weird scale is not gonna help matters. I'd found the Titans to be terrifying. Some exploited the labor of Digimon, they hire them under unfair conditions and make them work in poor environments. Humans also do that to Mechanorimon. Don't know how the work environment in Bandai Namco is like, but there's a small chance this could be a developer's secret call for help, who knows. Hopefully they add Hero Tyramon to the lore aside from Sunday. Never seen that one. I think this one is called the Berserk mode. Is hero because he's actually good or just like a hero between 4D villains he's still siding with? Hey, it's her again. Can you stop laughing like that before I fall in love with you? I already like your victory animation a lot. That really caught me off guard last time. So this is Yuki's type. You're onto something. I can make your words exactly. I mean, you have this, and just earlier today we had Anis, which is like your in more ways than one. So I think I can't hide it. I have a type. Was what used to turn into that, right? The hero power. Actually, yeah, I think that's what was called. And it's funny that I think hero power was what he used to be able to like manipulate time during this fight. And he keeps it like when you fight him again in the arena, even after he turns into a baby again, he can still stop time. I have to watch Frontiers. So when I was a kid, Frontiers would show up on television. I just refused to watch it because I really didn't like that the humans became Digimon instead of having them as like pets. Which was always part of the appeal for me. Nice, we got 3 sprites. Nice, we got I love that they need to have those for every single Digimon in the game. And also they don't even reuse the sprites from the Tamagotchi, I think, because the ones in Time Strange and the Cyber Sleuth do look a bit different. I wish they'd use this a bit more. And that's coming up again in the next clip. Visualize this. Oh, there's Rapture. Can you like visualize this? Nice. Oh, look at the Theramon sprite. What that dog doing with what they killed sprite? It's only because of Theramon's name that I remember he's supposed to be a dog. As a kid, I thought it was supposed to be a rabbit. I think I pointed this out back then, but Theramon is a dog, but Lapom is actually a rabbit or a bunny or whatever. Would you be able to tell? One way I think they could use the 8-bit sprites more often is if you style the Digifarm with this. Like, imagine if the Digifarm was like a Tamagotchi farm where your Digimon became their 8-bit versions. As a bonus, this would be a lot easier to load, so you could be able to access your Digifarm from the menu instead of having to go back to the theater every time. And you already have all these sprites, so you don't have to make many more assets. I'm not sure how I'll ever face my wife now. Oh, what? Why? What have you done? And does it involve Digimon? I think the implications here would be that he bet on Digimon fighting or he lost money betting. But thinking of the other possibilities is funnier. Between us brothers. Did he go ahead without us? It turns out I have a clairvoyance, because that is exactly what I just said. Wish I had this car voice when I decide whether to spend my funding a gacha game. Dragon was the biggest of the level 5 chakras in Cho, maybe bigger than Imperial Dragon 2. That's another one I haven't watched. I think if I had to pick one Digimon season that I haven't seen before to watch, I think it would be 2. The first season is the only one I actually watched. And it's been so long that I could just watch it again and it would feel new to me. Okay, there's that billboard of the dinosaurs back there. For a second, I stared at it and it just said SD. And I'm like, what? It's Assault to Dinosaurs. Yeah, it was weird seeing this on the corner of my eye. Also, no. What was this one called again? I think it was Momimon. This skill used to be very powerful in Cyrus Wolf. Still not sure, is she not called Momimon? And I recall her being my main attacker back in Cyrus Wolf. I think she was meta on the PvP in that game, though I never tried that out. I think it's probably not even possible to find online matches in that game anymore. Because even way back when I played it, the first time I never found one. Newest Digimon season is a must-watch anime. We're talking about the Beat Break, right? It's a kind of a reboot, like it's severed from all the past seasons. I think it's even got full episodes on YouTube, but that might be region locked. So bad I can't make the camera look ahead of me. Oh wait. So if I press my left analog stick, my character runs faster. So since when was I able to do this? Did the game ever tell me about this? Because I don't think it had. I could have been doing this all the time. Really. Yeah, I figured out by accident that you can sprint by pressing your left analog stick. Would have helped avoid getting jumped in the sewers in the start of the game. I'm now scared of opening Cyrus Wolf and finding out that you can also do that in that game, and I never knew. Most seasons aren't connected. I guess so. I was just thinking of that one scene in Cross Wires where they bring all the main characters together from all the seasons. I see that carries you like a butler. Yeah, it's a lot more classy than some of the other humanoid Digimon, because there are other Digimon that hold you by their hand when they carry you, but they hand it with their palm facing up, so they're actually grabbing onto your butt. And Demon Berserker has more class. Honestly, for a Demon Digimon, I kind of think Belphamon's sleep mode is scarier than his rage mode. I would be more afraid of coming across this in a Dark Alley. Don't know about you. So this was actually my starter. The Demidevimon from the beginning became this Digimon. And that's because I made a point of making my start into something I never had before in the Digimon game. And I like Belphamon enough. I think I like his sleep mode a bit more, if only because I think he's scarier. I might be now contractually obligated to make a Belphamon in every new Digimon game I play. Also, the game does back my point up later, because there's a whole horror sequence with the sleep mode Belphamon. They really like to focus on his lack of shoes. Now, this makes me think of when I saw I was noticing a trend on the artwork for the female characters in Granblue Fantasy, where a lot of them are joining a pose with their arm raised up, so it focuses on their armpits. So the artist more than likely has a preference. Oh, oh, the clip's not over yet. Sorry. Oh, and you'll definitely have a point. I just saw one card here. Indeed, there is a focus on his lack of shoes. I thought maybe it's just that they have to draw his soul body, but not with this artwork. So Granblue, there is a lot more artwork with poses like this. There's only a few examples. And there's a whole thing with this race of like the people that have animal ears in Granblue, where I think the logic is that they can't wear the same clothes that humans wear because they can't pull them up over their big animal ears. So they always have outfits like this that are kind of naked on the sides because they basically fit the clothes around them instead of pulling them from their heads. I think that's why it works. Agramons with Fallen Angel, that refers to a Yggdrasil into prosthetics. If they are all connected, Yggdrasil won't be in anything. A lot of Digimon shows work by different lore. And I'm glad they do, because imagine wanting to get into Digimon and you have to watch from the first season or you won't get it. The runs and armpit close to aliens in dark close like that. I think Meterend forgot what this one was called now. That's a bit embarrassing because I did have her in my party for a while. But I think she is also a fairly old character. Chrono Evolution. Is that what I think is going to be? Yes, it is. It's the thing from Digimon Dawn and Dusk. This happens at the start of the game. But it's the final boss of Digimon Story 1 with the gimmick from Digimon Story Dawn and Dusk. Agumon just went back one level. He's not a baby. Hey, Nori, my party was already pretty weak as Megas. Now that they are babies, I think you will have to fill in. Inori Punch Shikodo, take a page from the main character of Savers. At this point, Inori has seen Agumon do his stun beat blow punch a lot of times, right? She can probably replicate it by now. Something like this also happens in the final battle of the Digimon Ocho movie, which I've watched several times, funny enough, considering I haven't watched the anime. And does Diaboromon do that in Rumble Arena? Did you know that? It's easy to destroy humanity, but it's more fun to train guys like this into real men. Whenever someone uses that term, I'm very interested in knowing what they understand as being a quote-unquote real man, because I think it tells I think knowing that will tell you a lot more about the person saying it than about what a real man is. It's easy to destroy. This was now a very awful side quest. If you missed it, the plot is that this old guy is refusing to pay his tab in a pub run by Digimon, and you help him by beating up the staff so he can get away with it. He's not even getting scammed or anything, it's just helping commit a crime. Very least the game could have done, in my opinion, is give you an option to pay for his tab. It's like 40,000 yen. By this point in the game, you have a lot more than that. And yes, about this point, if you ask around, you'll find that pretty much every single person you ask will have a different definition of what constitutes a quote-unquote real man or what a masculine ideal should be. Which should hint to us of how much of a broken system that is. on how the Royal Knights feel about Bagramon, the Restor Dramon, since they was the power of their boss. I actually don't know either of those by name. I don't think they show up in this game. Now let's compare their voices. Whether or not they are the same. That's the story Agumon. And this is the one I just made. Yeah, they sound completely different. The new Agumon's voice sounds actually pretty weird coming out from such a human looking Digimon. Like he's very, very squeaky. I'd expect that voice to come out from a Chumon. So did you know that? Are you gonna tell me that you did not make a second Agumon just to see if the voice was different from the story one? This happens with every story helper that you get. Like, for example, the NPC Venusmon that helps you in some fights has a different voice from if you make your own Venusmon. And so on. Last time Stranger clip. This does make me curious what the reasons behind the Lanamon's popularity is. I mean, I can tell you why I like her. It's her design and her personality, cause it's already being made kinda clear that I have something for like evil waifus. But I don't know about why everybody else likes her. If it's the same reason. Also, this was the game that made me a Lanamon fan because I kinda made her on a wing early in the game because I wanted to see what Kalmaramon was like specifically. Then I saw both of their victory animations and it went from there. Speaking of which, at this point I will have to consider that where is she? That Kalmaramon is my one Deji wife, right? She showed up I think 4 times across those clips. And it only took a single game. I never even watched the anime season she's from. Bagramon was Shotmon's rival and Arrestor Dramon studied under Shotmon. And that's all from the Crossfires anime. I had the game on the DS, but I never got far into it. I found the gameplay a bit weird in that one. You had 6 active Digimon at a time instead of 3. And getting new Digimon was pretty weird. You basically have to craft Digimon in that game instead of getting scan data like in the other Digimon story games. We'll move on to the Nazuma 11 clips next, but only after I take another break. I think this stream will go a bit over time, but that's fine to do every once in a while. So I'll see you in a moment. Hi there. Before we continue, there's a couple things I have to say about the VOD channel that I forgot. So one warning, because like I said, VODs on YouTube don't tend to get a lot of attention. I don't think it's worth it putting a lot of effort to like edit them. Which means that most of the VODs are going to be the stream like exactly as it happens, so no thumbnails for one. And with most of them, stuff like the intro screen and the screen whenever I go on break are not going to be cut out. You could say that means the channel is more for the like dedicated fan. But even despite that, I'm sure your second monitor is really going to like this content. Also, as of now, there's every single stream I've ever made is in this channel. But this might not be the case forever, because I think I might, as time goes on, I might start privating the older VODs, just because I think they don't hold up to my current output. Like, I'm well aware I was incomprehensible in my first few streams. That still happens every once in a while. And I wouldn't want that to be the first impression someone has of my channel. So what I mean to say is, if you want to watch the really old stuff, that now's your chance to do it. I mean, not right now, wait until this stream ends first. It's only gonna be a bit anyway. Also, I have to go back to the last clip for a second. There was one other thing I had to point out. Where is Kameramon again? You see how I'm making excuses to bring her up again? So the other day I read that in the anime, Kameramon is supposed to be the ugly form of Lanamon. It's typical Disney villain stuff, like she looks beautiful normally, but then she has a monster form that's like her real self. Which I don't see it. So this was not supposed to be attractive. How curious. I was making sure I stopped the music. Okay. So I imagine that Tokisoji, from his point of view, is just a normal conversation. But Tomei has severe social anxiety, so he sees it as an RPG battle. As he tries to ignore Kisoji. Just talk by testing. Wait, that caught me off guard. This game is so weird in the beginning. I had almost forgotten about these battles. Actually glad that the game phased them out by the end, because I didn't like them. Also, what I just talked about in this clip, I think that's the whole premise of Yakuza 7, the one that's a turn-based RPG. That the RPG stuff just happens in the main character's head. I actually own that game and I do plan to stream it at some point. I haven't actually played it yet. Because I don't play Yakuza, because I just don't like beating ups a lot. But the 7th one is an RPG, so I'd be more interested in that. She's watched something embarrassing. I actually wonder what that could be. Say, it's white and has two round squishy parts on it. Oh gosh, that's so embarrassing. Sounds like something you shouldn't be allowed to bring to school, especially as a teacher. The anime gets better later on. I never watched the anime and the strange mascot plushie, fluffy white plushie of Spooky Big Buns, a mascot character loved by kids. Oh, that's what the teacher was bringing to school then. Why she would bring that is another mystery. This gets brought up later, because basically there is a character who's a clickbait YouTuber. He makes a hit piece about this exact incident. And the title he makes for that is, as I quote, "Smoking hot teacher is actually secretly a fan of spooky big buns." Wonder if Lanamon has a good farm, because Duskmon wasn't the real spirit of darkness. He's requesting if all the honest heroes' faces were false versions. Maybe if they touch the Legendary Warriors again, they might give them more farms. Oh, that's all like Frontiers lore that I'm not familiar with. I'd be happy to get more Lanamon farms, in any case. If you're just tuning in, I'm playing this football game called Inazuma 11 Victory Road. It's a football game. Allegedly. Anyway, again, the beginning of this game is so strange. Because you do everything except play football. Like, almost like the game doesn't want you to engage with the football system. I think that's a bit of an issue in every Inazuma 11 game. They do tend to get bogged down with story early on. And they take a while to open up. But Victory Road is the worst case of that. At least the story is interesting enough to follow until that happens. I mean, until they're done with all these distractions. Lanamon does have level 5, so there's that at least. And that was a problem for me in time staging. That meant that Carmilla, my Lanamon, did fall behind in level by the end of the game. I mean, in strength compared to the rest. Now, here's me ranting about the Fable update. This update will be all sorts of terrible for the game's PvP. Like, a problem I already had with heroes is that since only main characters can be heroes. If you run a team with only a couple main characters from the anime, like I do, or even worse, a team with no main characters. Unless you're willing to replace some players in your team, you will be at a big disadvantage in the PvP, especially now that Fabled characters will be introduced. Also, Fabled characters have to be acquired from the special shop, and the items you need to get in will require you to grind them a lot more, like magnitudes more, than you'd grind for anything else in the game. And this feels like it's a mechanic out of a gacha game, like where you would then offer an option for you to pay real money to skip this grind and get Fable players earlier. But this is a full price game, it's like $70, with no microtransactions, not yet at least. So I'm like confused as to what motive you'd have to add in a mechanic like this, other than like sadism. This is something I would come up with if I hosted a live service game and I wanted to express my disdain for my own player base. This update, it got slightly less worse later on, because first they had the ability to make any character into a Fable. That's the Juggernaut best rank in the game. And they gave everybody one Fabled seed, so you could pick one character to make into a Fabled without having to grind for it. So they did patch that up eventually. I still don't like the system. As I said before, I find it weird that you have a team-based sports RPG, but you want one character to be much more powerful than everybody else, so you center your strategy on one character. And you have to do it if you're going to play online, because are you gonna be the one person who doesn't have a Juggernaut in your team? As I have to say it, since they're on screen, I absolutely love my Victory Road team. It's my favorite of all the things I ever had in any Inazuma 11 game. Slightly helped by the fact that I'm on it. I have replaced a few players ever since this clip. They are on reserves now, like Ice and Masala are this now. You will see them at least one more time whenever I stream the end of Chronicle Mode when Tato gets added to the game. But it's gonna be a while, cause first the update has come out in the end of this month. And then you have to wait for level 5 to lift the prohibition streaming the ending. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that. And that could be a few months more of waiting.
知らないし、知らないもんおすすめするの詐欺じゃない？
Wouldn't promoting something you don't understand just be a scam. Like, have you ever seen an influencer before? That's kind of their job description.
サッカーのことよく知ら
And I was kind of expecting the story to lean a bit more into that. There is one whole character who is like an obnoxious or a streamer that he shows up and looks like he's setting up for an interesting conflict, but he kind of just gets phased out of the story. Makes me wonder if he's getting saved up for the sequel. And you just said that's your country. That's right. I'm what you would call a Japanese Brazilian, because I was born in Brazil and I have a Japanese ancestry. Also, now that we are here, I can tell you about a thing that happened to me way back during the 2014 World Cup. Way back when I was going to school in Brazil. So one time during recess, this group of kids I never spoke to before suddenly like accosted me. They looked very angry for some reason. Then one of them asks me like, what team are you rooting for in the World Cup? I reply Brazil and they left me alone. Then later I realized that those kids were like ready to beat me up if I answered Japan to their question, and they expected me to because of my ethnicity. I will leave you with a fun fact that I should have said in this moment. Did you know that Brazil is the country that has the most Japanese people in the planet, other than Japan itself, of course? Also, Kason, thanks a lot for the resub. Welcome. And I saw the alert on the corner of my eye, but I didn't hear the sound for it, so I think it's broken again. It's supposed to play a sound on stream and on my end, so I can actually tell when it's happening. Let's see, if I make Twitch send a test alert for the resub. What, now it made a sound? I'm pretty sure it didn't when Kateson did it. Something's broken here. I'll have to look into that later. Look a rice bomb. This was a bit I was trying to do for the whole playthrough. I don't know if you'll notice it. Every time Fukura did this skill, I would look behind me. So like looking for the onigiri. This match, Nishinomiya, is the first tournament match. It's actually on the best in the entire story mode. Because you get pummeled in the first half, then you have to make up the difference in the second one. And you unlock all 4 restarts at once. It's pretty cool. You could use some disciplining.
千の会長。いえ、申し訳ありません。
What's going on between the two of you that I'm not aware of? What kind of disciplining? You know, she does look really looks like the type, if you catch my drift. I'll say the way that Shisendo reacts to this is like it's not the first time it's happened. Disciplining.
千の会長。いえ。
So make of that what you will. Did you ever find the donut? Yeah, I did find it later in the local convenience store.
ねえねえ、いじめがいのありそうなチームじゃない？
Oh my, don't they look simply delightful to toy with?
あのキーパーの子、なんかいい感じですわ。
That keeper boy, he does pique my interest. Look at Raika's face.
あれ見て
ごきげん
Just
よう、
what?
ナグモハラの皆さん。
Greetings, Naguara girl. She has a butterfly mask. I like that pink-haired one.
これからたっぷりいたぶってあげるから、試合の途中で逃げ出したりしないでね。
What do they teach those girls at Meirangakuen? This might be my favorite in Asmo 11 now if I have to pick one of the canonical ones. Also, you'll notice how after one of the girls hits on Shiseno, he shakes his head. Oh my, don't they look right here?
あのキーパーの子、なんかいい感じですわ。
That keeper boy, he does pique my interest. Look at Raika's face.
あれ見て
ごきげん
Just
よう。
intend to back up what I just said. Two of these characters will end up on my main team. One the captain and the pink card one, as I point out. Butterfly mask. I like that pink card one. Nice bit of foreshadowing because she's gonna come up later. Oh, the declining birth rate. Also happening in real life in Japan, like their schools will have like one classroom with 5 students or something, and once they graduate, this school shuts down. With the likelihood that that the story here was mostly written by boomers, we think it's gonna be like get preached about it.
しかし、とは
Next proverb is going to be marry and reproduce.
当然だ。
That would have been really fun if nothing else. Before I played this the story mode and I knew that it takes place roughly in the current day, I was expecting the writing to go in one of two ways. Like either it was going to be like naive, it was going to treat it like basically like it's taking place in the early 2010s, that's when the previous games came out. Just with some token modern stuff like YouTube and Discord. Second would be that it was going to be spiteful. It was going to be mostly complaining about those tiny kids in their TikToks. And about how they keep they're addicted to social media. They keep making TikToks instead of making babies like they should be. Glad it didn't go that way. All in all, it's I think it's okay. It has some you can believe it takes place in the current day, mostly by every other NPC wanting to be a YouTuber. So I wish they had done a bit more of it. I especially like when in the Teikoku match, the match against Alice's team, how the enemy players were rage baiting. Like there's a thing about them looking up Yagyo's social media and using that as material to make him angry during the match. And they fight they can do it with Sakurazaki because he has no social media, so no information for them to dig out. That is Shisatsu by inputting a code in the main menu. It's the Korokoro mascot. Right. Very obscure because this was not ever advertised outside of Japan. Like, there's a bunch of people playing this game that have no idea this Hisatsu is in it. To be fair, they probably don't know who this character is either. This satsu is called Dokonjo Catch in Japanese. To paraphrase its description, it uses the softest part of the body to cushion the bone. Nice save, Tomoka, but use your hands next time. And there's a Shorin Hisatsu that works basically exactly like this. I just never showed that off on stream before. There's this one called Haniwa Paulo. A super nice guy who trained in Brazil, the home of football, and the spitting image of Haniwa. So you see all these other characters from the Galaxy season, you think you're gonna read about a bunch of wacky aliens from other planets, and it's suddenly... There's not an alien, it's just Brazil. It's a Brazil jump scare. Because if the bio is any indication, he actually is not an alien, he's a human that happens to look just like a Haniwa. Not sure if he's supposed to be Brazilian, just as he trained in Brazil. And I later found out that this is one of those fan submitted designs, and he shows up in the anime for Galaxy. And I think there's a whole thing of this character. I also didn't notice the girl from Yokai Watch hanging out in the corner here. Black John is my favorite Koro Koro manga YouTube series. I also never heard of that one. Is it an old one?
ブロマイドをばらまいていた犯人について聞かせてもらいましょうか。
Tell me everything about who's distributing those candid snapshots of me. Oh, it's Yuina.
私の非合法ブロマイ
Weirdest thing is how this plot line goes nowhere. So here they're talking to Manbei, that's the influencer who was basically stalking your thing. So they assume that he was also behind the photos that someone was like creep shotting of Seno, but that was actually Yuina doing it. So this goes nowhere, and the whole plot of Manbei goes nowhere. He never gets punished for what he's done, but he does not explicitly get away with it. He kind of just disappears from the plot. Either they run out of time in development, or it's can't save for the sequel. Haru, give me a green token. He actually did it. I was so ready to be disappointed by that. I think Haru was listening to me inside the game. I'm gonna get delusional just like Umi. If you don't know, there's several colors of the token. Every time you do this minigame, you get one of them at random. And here I need exactly one of them. One green one to continue the story. Also about Haru, the character. Am I the only one who thinks Haru is kind of scary? Like, not as in him being a powerful character, like he looks scary. Look at this thumbnail where he's signed to your soul for one shot. From 2020 and ongoing, the YouTube channel even did a film with covers. So is the manga about a YouTuber and it's as a meta kind of YouTube channel? That could be fun. There's some news from this week that I think I should talk about. Just this week, Arknight Sandfield has come out. The new, the other gacha game for Arknights. Anyway, back to the story mode. Another time where I'm not sure the joke landed, so it's just that I bring up Endfield like it's a huge new release, then I immediately move on to the actual game. I don't know, ever since this game was first announced, I felt nothing but apathy for it. So this script just shows how I feel about Enfield. Doing very fun, gotta head to bed. Looking forward to tomorrow's stream. Yeah, you'll have to... I'll have to cancel what was going to be the second part of this stream. That was gonna be the AMA session. I mean, if you had any questions, you can bring it up tomorrow. I'm going to be back here tomorrow anyway. And I don't think there was going to be a lot of them anyhow. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, Colonel. There was a cute guy with a metal eye in Enfield, but that's it. I think I know what character that is. Don't know his name. This series has like a huge variety in body types, but to look at this, she reaches up to this girl's waistline, and she's not even like one of the shorter ones herself, like Mikana and Fukuro are. Oh no, she's being kidnapped by her own team. Stop them. This game is a bit strange with body types, because I'm pretty sure some characters just change sizes depending on the situation. Like here, I don't think she's supposed to be this small, or she's not supposed to be this big either way. Notice it happened to Fukura from my team, where she looked taller in the cutscenes and the matches. I think that's because in matches, your character will just like default to a preset body type for the animations, because they don't account for all the subtle varieties in body types. It's got a magazine called Playbear. I found myself with some time to kill, so I figured a little light reading wouldn't hurt.
ワンダバが読書って。
たので読書にふけっていたのだ。
It's got... Okay, despite my reaction here, I'm actually glad that he has this magazine. Because I'm already not very fond of little talking mascots in games, anime, or whatever. But I especially don't like the cliche where you have a little mascot like this, but he will inexplicably be attracted to a human woman. I know that the only in Persona 5 does this. It just makes no sense. Like, it makes as much sense as if a human character was attracted to this blue teddy bear. Wait, I'm so close. You know, I'm conscious that I've never... In all my time stream, I've never cursed on stream. You don't know how much I just held myself back from doing that now. You know what? I'm not even trying again. Let's move. I stopped it too early there, but the main thing was over anyway. One day I'm going to curse on stream. I just have to wonder what's gonna cause it. And if you're wondering, I don't refrain from cursing because I want to make my channel family friendly, because this is not a family friendly channel, and you'll know that if you read the rules. It's just that I don't like cursing in public in general. And I don't tend to play games that make me angry. That also helps. Roger Rabbit's wife is like that. I don't know, because I might have watched that movie, but it's been so long that I don't remember anything from it. Greetings, Naguara girl. She has a butterfly mask. I like that pink-haired one. Meiran Gakuen has this character over here. And get this, she's a Yuri fanatic. Her name is Shirayuri for one. Her bio says she gushes over cute girl moments and turns every spark of romance into manga feel. But that's the dub description. The Japanese one is more overt about it. The translation for the Japanese one says that she's a delusion lover who gazes at girls being together and goes quote-unquote precious. Whenever an event makes her heart flutter, she immediately turns it into a manga. A direct Yuri reference in Inazuma 11 of all things wouldn't be on my bingo list, but here this is. This game has a lot of firsts for Inazuma 11. This is going to be a one shot. I'm pretty sure I've seen Phase Dad as a coach, I think. Not a coach, a player in this game. I might have, I just have to remember what it's called. So this clip is a whole like plot in 3 parts. From first seeing this character, then learning her bio, then deciding that I kinda love her and adding her to my team. Can't even really tell you why I'm was drawn to this character, because I don't actually watch or read any Yuri myself. I think I mentioned this before. But on the other hand, I think that the girl who's obsessed with Yuri makes for a fun character. Also, she does not learn those 2 moves by default. I gave them to her. And was just random at first, but like if I were to explain these move choices, because they are very dark and kinda clash with her design. I imagine that she's a Yuri mangaka, so maybe perhaps she's into toxic Yuri as well. So these moves would explain, reflect her dark state of mind. Who knows? And you only have a short bio to go off of, you kinda have to make up a headcanon for your characters. So this is a chandelier, which these are very famous for falling in video games. Is that gonna be the case here? Not with this one at least. Oh, I knew it. And it still started me. And I was watching the script now, expecting this first one to fall. I was confused for a second. This part is so much worse in reverse. And I try to shoot downwards and... So I tried to fire a knife down at that enemy, but I slide kicked instead. And that got me stuck on the spikes. This part... And this was very unfortunate because I had to backtrack a lot after this incident. Kinda feels like an untested area because... I don't know, I think it's too punishing to have a death trap for one wrong side kick. Alright, so try to stay right beneath her. I don't actually know when that pincer like move is coming. I'm just getting lucky on avoiding it. I keep accidentally dodging this move. You'd think I'd learn to anticipate it after avoiding it 3 times, but in this fight I'm focusing so much on where Sakura is that I don't catch like when Flan is lifting her wings to do this pincer attack. Good thing I was lucky on avoiding it anyway. Now for the last game in this list of clips, those are very recent, from Octopath Zero. Sounds something strange on the other side of the woods. Some soldiers in red, like right on the... right on our doorstep. What would soldiers even have to gain by going to a poor little village like ours? Lady, you have to play a few JRPGs, then you will understand. Sounds so... And would believe that they do actually come and burn the village down shortly after this. I haven't even beaten this game yet, and it's already weird looking back at the beginning because it's so like fantasy cliche in the start. I'm glad it moves out of it later. It doesn't even take long. Girls' Interstellar Adventure is a good one where they want to find a new home to live together on. The title sounds interesting. I'll keep a note to check that out when I can. Looking it up on Google Images, you only find a couple pictures, so I think it's a very obscure manga. The art style looks really pretty. And I tend to like be a sucker for story set in space. Even though I admit I haven't read many of those, because they tend to be really long. I was confused between my two browsers for a second. Cute Pupper, the overall sprite looks pretty cute, but how about when you start the battle? It's gonna look a lot more detailed. Oh, well, it does, and oh wow, great sprite work. I forgot to mention this. I'm sure this game will have a lot of gorgeous pixel art like this. The first game certainly had it. The game does go on to have some very great sprite work, but the first boss is a bit misleading because you expect more monsters for bosses. At least up until the point I stopped, most bosses are just gonna be just a guy with a sword or not kind of soldier. It's a bit of a bummer, but funny enough, this wolf has come back and is currently the bane of my existence in this game. Welcome, are you here to have some fun? Sorry, but we don't have any openings right now. Try again sometime.
教えて。
Is this your first time? And you know, this dancer went on to live in my avatar's house in the village. She is currently there right now in the game. I guess they got engaged after this. Let's see if this poison works this time. That was my first time getting damage in the quadruple digits, and it was from Mace of all people. From the, the medicine maker. And why is she the most powerful character in my party, physic-wise? She does fall behind later, cause as the game has gone on, these attack don't get much stronger, at least in my build. But I think you can make Mace into a very powerful tank with the right setup. Especially since she can rest and recover her health for free. This could be a lot stronger. I haven't seen the normal version of this enemy yet. I think I should run. Nice. Never mind, then we're going back to that later. But oh, I'm glad the clip shows me where this enemy was, because I can come back to it later to get the Radiant Cornerstone. Also, this was one of the higher effort clips, because I had to do this where I get a shot from the health bars and show you how much damage the boss has done. Because otherwise you won't get why I reacted this way. Now, what an anticlimactic way to end it. Oh, just pelted the monster once and it fell over. Especially since we're fighting a theater stage, this must have been so disappointing for the audience. Sorry about that. This is a pretty weird quirk of Octopath Zero where the bosses don't have a special death animation, they just poof out of existence. I don't remember if it was like that in the first one. But this means that you sometimes just get jump scared by the victory screen, like in here. The last cop are from just last week, so it would have been a lot faster to just fast travel to Riptide. Where is Olive actually? She was in Wishvale and I was going on foot because I thought she'd be like around here. I was about to cross the continent to do this quest. Talk about making the game less long, am I right? I wonder how long the playtime becomes if you never fast travel. Someone should try doing that. The estimated time to clear this game normally, by the way, is 100 hours. Which means that I think I'm still not even halfway through it. We're gonna be stuck in Octopath Zero for a while. At least the game is pretty fun so far. Let's, well, 3 attempts to hit with face swords. I think that's the best I can do. Sorry, for a second I was confused what my reaction should be. So slow motion of what happened. Viator missed. I needed to hit to the cat twice to break his shield. Viator missed out his 3 attacks, so it looked like it was going to get away. But then the helper struck once, dealt 4 damage, and that was enough to kill the cat outright. If it was enough to break the shield. So do helpers have better accuracy or something? So they have a niche for very important use. I was so confused here, because in this moment I see the cat poofing away, so I think he's run because I missed the 2 attacks from Viator. And then it only downs in that I actually killed the cat when the victory theme starts playing. Also, this was the very first time I killed one of those cats. In the first game I could never do it. And we've gone through every single one of my clips. Here's to many more as I continue to livestream. So maybe I should slow it down, because so I have like less clips to go through when I do this again, if I do this again next year. As I said, I not switch to an AMA now, because I've run well like overtime for today's stream. If you had anything you wanted to ask, you can do that tomorrow. I'll be back streaming the new chapter in Arknights. But this is going to be it for today. To follow me on like all my YouTube channels and my socials, remember that you can either type exclamation point links on the chat, or you can just look at my Twitch's about tab. That's gonna have link you to this card page as well. I hope today's activity has been fun enough for you. And I'll see you tomorrow with Arknights. I'll look for somebody to raid. Alexius is online. I'm gonna be raiding him today. Right, I'll be ending now. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope to see you all tomorrow. And have a good night.